Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. So this session is going to be the panel session. We have Esther Ogbu, who is a project manager at Esri UK. We also have Michael Manalili, who is innovation lead for World Food Program. But before we start, I just want to, okay, let me just share. Yeah, so we are going to be having our speakers. We're going to be sharing about the non-technical, it's a non-technical career session where we're going to, hear from them about what other area that GIS professionals can work in, and areas they can support like GIS projects without having technical background normally. So we have Esther Ogbu, who is a project manager at Esri UK. We have Michael Manalili, who is development and innovation lead at UN World Food Program Emergencies. And we also have Taslim. Taslim will not be joining us today. We got a mail from him that will not be able to join today. So I think we have Esther here. Okay, Taslim is actually now on the call. Justice, can you bring him to the stage? Justice, can you bring Taslim to the webinar page? Okay, so I'm just going to read your profile before we start. Just give me a few minutes. I'm going to read your profile so we can go into the session while we wait for the last panelist to join. So the objective of this session is, to hear from these experts to be able to, share their story and also tell us how an individual who might be interested can, start a non-technical career in the GIS profession. So I'm just going to read your profile. Okay, so we have Esther Onyekachi Ogbu. Esther has built a career in the geospatial industry via an insightful and exciting journey, learning more about the extent and power of location intelligence and how it can drive business value for a variety of industries. Prior to her career in geospatial, she worked in corporate events where she generated mind-blowing concepts and delivered unique experiences that met the customer's objective, which included multinational brands like Google and British councils, among other. She's a volunteer with African Women in GIS and Women Plus in geospatial to improve diversity and inclusion within the industry. She is a co-founder of Geolimnos Co. Limited, created to drive tech innovation and creativity in the geospatial industry and the GIS Girl to encourage and help more girls get into the industry. She was named as one of the 50 Rising Stars by Geospatial World in February 2021. Hi, Esther. Very interested, very excited to have you here on the call.
Hi, Omonola. Thank you.
So we also have Taslim. Taslim has been involved in the GIS and technology industry for the past 8 years. He started his innovations in a second year, 2014, as an undergraduate at the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Ondo State, Nigeria. He has led various teams in the deployment of amazing GIS-based innovations in various sectors, such as real estate, retailing, energy, and demography, before he graduated from the Department of Remote Sensing and GIS in 2018. Taslim recently founded Musa Technologies Limited, a company that is focused on building native GIS methodologies to advance geographic data collection, applications, and utilization, specifically within the African ecosystem. Taslim aspires to build himself to understand the perfect balance between business, technology, and design. Hello, Taslim. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
So like I all mentioned, we normally hear technical we know so many technical roles in geospatial. There's a developer, there's analyst, there's the developer analyst, there's the data scientist, but we don't really have, here a lot of conversations around what are the non-technical area that people who have GIS background can also, focus in, because like Priscilla mentioned during our session, that it's not always just about, the technical people. We also need more hands. We need more professionals who can, make a project come to life. So it's not always about like the technical people. So the aim of this session is to, help you, if you are interested in that kind of career path, to, help you navigate, to hear from people who have experience, to learn how you can get started, what are even the non-technical careers that you can, follow as a geospatial professional. So I think we're just going to go into the session fully. Esther, you're a project manager at Esri UK. So I would like to just, first to ask you, what can you share what you do as a project manager and how, that is relevant in the geospatial ecosystem?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much again to the organizers of GIS Fest. So I work as a project manager with Esri UK, primarily focused in the critical national infrastructure practice. And that basically entails working with organizations in the energy, gas, or telecommunications sector. And it mainly involves, it mainly involves working with a lot of technical persons like solution architects, GIS consultants, or software engineers to be able to deliver projects for customers. And that could range from simple projects that could just be software installation and configuration, just spatial software installation and configuration, or it could be something as full-blown scalable solution for a company. For example, one of the customers we're working recently with is a gas company that's trying to depict a digital twin of their hydrogen gas infrastructure to understand how scalable that will be in pursuing the net zero. So it's basically just managing projects end to end. That's what it covers.
Thank you for that. So Taslim, you're a Census field technology consultant and also the founder of MELSAT. So can you also share what you do and how that is relevant in the geospatial ecosystem?
Thank you very much. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can.
Yes.
Okay. So personally, I'm very keen on building GIS tools that work from scratch for Africa in the way that works in our ecosystem. And as Niels said, we are focused on enlarging this vision into building different kind of data collection tools across software, IoT, and drones for collecting data within African soil. And career-wise, I consult for Nigeria for their current census and some other countries too. So in terms of how it impacts the role of the ecosystem, I think this is coming up in Africa at a very early stage now. And I'm really very skilled in this aspect to prove that we in Africa can design what works for us in accordance to what we do and we need for African system. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Taslim, for that. Although your internet is a little bit shaky, so it would be very helpful if you can just try to, I don't know if you can just help us to maybe slow down the pace at which you talk so that we're able to hear you well. But yeah, thank you for that. So this question goes to Taslim. You mentioned that, you have a company and what you're trying to achieve with your company is to build like a GIS team. So to build a team actually that can just build solutions. So I want to ask you for you to share. So let's say when you're trying to bring up a team like that, what are the non-technical professionals that you basically need? Maybe professionals who also have GIS backgrounds that you need, that you think like, so we want to build a solution now. These are the people I think I need who will have a technical background that is going to also help this solution to come to life.
Okay, so when you say non-technical background, the first point I always go for is UI and UX. So you see, getting data and building what works for collecting data in Africa is one thing. But making people to be able to leverage it for their personal impact, for their business impact is something else. Now, most times the users of a product are not the developers. So building products that will enable the users gain from it is a very serious task. So this is where you talk with that are very non-technical to see what you're building, and they can understand our language, and they can design interfaces and experience for people that want to leverage the system to make their daily life work and the like. So one key part is user experience people, and then user interface people. And then secondly, slightly not technical, is data policy systems that works in Africa. That part is not as technical, but it's very, very important to have them in our team. And what else would I put again? Then literally operations, because data collection cut across different systems working together, and it involves humans and also technical products. You need people that can manage human operations at a very large scale, and this is not a technical skill. And like so, imagine we're collecting data across an entire country with over 15,000 people on the field. We need people that can organize them, monitor them, put them to check and the likes. And that part is let's see, for GIS activities. Okay, I would say I think those are the three key parts: operations first, then the user experience and user interfaces, and then policy aspect. That's what I can pick up right now from just of the book. Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Taslim. So Esther, let me also push that question to you as a project manager. Can you also share, like you mentioned, you're currently building a project for an hydrogen gas company. So, and some of the other projects that you've also, been the project lead or the project manager for this project. What are can you share the non-technical professionals you've worked with who have a GIS background but are not really doing technical stuff, and how do they come to help the team to achieve the project or the solution that you're working for or on at the end of the day?
Sure, thank you. I think I completely agree with what Taslim said in needing the UI UX guys and the operations guys as well. But I'll say that another key role that is often overlooked are the guys who actually bring the business in. So the guys who are the front line, engaging with the customers, engaging with the users to draw out their needs and get what they want. And oftentimes those guys are referred to as the salespeople, but then broken down within that sales group, you have the pre-sales guys who are the ones who kind of like build the demos that the customer sees to be able to know what is possible. The guys who show the customers what is possible with the software, with our technology. I think those guys play a very, very key role. Then going down to the product managers themselves, the ones who would be focused on understanding how the product needs to be built or structured or modified or amended to suit different customers. If in a case where you have to customize products and it's not a one-size-fit type of thing you're selling. So also those two groups are quite important, the sales and the products guys.
Okay, so so far we have Taslim mentioned the user experience and people who have experience data policy, human operations. Then Esther mentioned the sales and also the product manager. I think like those are like very interesting professions. So my next question then would be to understand, because I would want to be sure of, would you pick somebody who has as somebody that works in a geospatial industry, and you currently work for a company that builds geospatial products. So when hiring for these two particular ones that you mentioned, do geospatial skill sets or having a geospatial background, how much influence does it have on whether a person is going to get a role? So let's say I want to go into product management for Esri now, and I have a geospatial background. I also have some product knowledge. Do you think that geospatial background at the end of the day will give me an edge to get the job at Esri over somebody that doesn't really have a geospatial background? So what type of influence does having a geospatial background have on non-technical roles or jobs at the end of the day? So that's for Esther, yes.
Okay, thank you. I would say absolutely. It's having a geospatial background certainly gives you an advantage, and it's beneficial to both your role and then to you as a person. To you as a person, it helps you understand what it is you've set out to do and tasks you're given, and it helps you get involved in the system quicker. And from the company side of things, it's that understanding that you don't have to spend as much time trying to learn a new product or learn a new technology. That gives you an edge over someone who doesn't have. But I would also say that someone who doesn't have geospatial technology experience, if they have an open mindset to be able to learn, there's nothing stopping them from, because we've seen people who have learned new technologies almost at the speed of light every other day. But I'd say certainly having a geospatial background is very helpful, because you understand the product better, you understand the language, you understand the industry speak, you understand acronyms that will typically not be used in other industries but are used in the geospatial industry. You understand several concepts, so it gives you an edge, because that level of understanding helps to build your foundation. I would say it certainly did help me, because when I started out in the geospatial industry after school, I did not want to be the guy behind a PC crunching the data or crunching the numbers. I didn't want to be the one creating the maps. I wanted to be able to help customers achieve what solutions they wanted to be able to build. So I would say in having those conversations with customers, if I did compare myself with colleagues who did not have that geospatial experience, I found that I was able to connect with customers. I was able to even connect with the technical guys better, because when I'm brainstorming with a technical team, I'm able to give them ideas because I understand what it is that you're doing. So it certainly is an advantage. Thanks.
Okay, thank you for that. Taslim, I think I would also like to push this question to you. As somebody, you have your own company, so I would assume that you also get involved in the hiring process. So during your hiring, how does, having a GIS background, how does it influence, your hire at the end of the day? Taslim answers that question. He actually dropped his own contribution via chat. So he says that having like a GIS background, even if you are going for a non-technical role, makes you understand the context of things. It enables you to digest GIS solutions being researched or innovated faster, and it also helps you to conceptualize problem faster. So Taslim, I think you can also like answer the question so that other people on the call can also hear that. Hi, Taslim. Are you currently speaking? Okay. 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 So Taslim says his audio isn't good. So maybe I should just read over what he said again. So Taslim, to contribute to the question about, how does GIS background influence, even people that are in the non-technical role. So he says that having a GIS background makes you understand the context of things. It enables one to digest GIS solutions being researched or innovated faster, and it helps to conceptualize problem statement faster. And we should also remember that Taslim is the founder of Memsat, so he's involved, I would assume he's involved in a lot of hiring process. So I would say that is basically, I'm saying this from maybe what he has experienced as a team lead, as a CEO, hiring people, and also as a team lead building geospatial solutions for different organizations and for different companies. So now to the next question for the panelists is, what are the skill sets that somebody needs to get started? I would assume that since we've already mentioned different roles, we've mentioned user experience, we've mentioned data policy, we've mentioned human operations, we've mentioned business development, sales, and product manager. So I would assume that there will be a lot of different technical skill sets for those people in this role. And by technical, I don't mean like sitting behind the computer. I mean the skill set are very peculiar to this particular role. But as a general overview, what are the kind of skills that you feel like for people who might have interest in this role, what are the general skill set that would make them thrive in this particular role?
Can I go?
Yeah, sure. Go on.
Okay, so I'd say for any role at all, the first thing would be having an appetite for learning and self-development, because I think that's a really, really crucial and critical foundational skill that regardless of the role you're going into, that need to always want to learn new stuff because technology is changing overall, more so the geospatial industry. So having that key appetite to want to learn and having an open mind and having flexibility to be able to relate with people. I'd say interpersonal skills are quite key as well, because if you have to relate with both your colleagues, like Taslim mentioned earlier when he was talking about the people with the handle human operations, being able to relate with people and manage expectations, either from your superiors or from your subordinates or from your colleagues, is quite crucial. Then down to the specific role, it would be understanding what it is you're supposed to do to the team and how that adds value to the overall project or overall scope of things that's being built. Having that understanding, it'll help if you have some specific certifications in your own industry. So if you're going to go into sales or going to go into product management or going to go into UI UX, look out for what certifications would make you stand out from the next person in that area. I think those are helpful skills. And of course, a basic understanding of the geospatial industry will be helpful at all, even if you don't have a technical background in it. Just understanding what it does, what its objective is.
Okay. I think that's a very good point. Taslim, are you able to? Okay, so Taslim has also dropped his answer in the chat. Say knowing how to search for solutions independently using tools like Google and open source community. It's not all blockers you call your superior for. So that means it's not like all the problems that you have to call your superior for. So it's important to have the skill set of looking for solutions independently. And it's also said knowing how to navigate the vast internet of information to get what you need is also very important. So like those are the skill sets, according to Esther and Taslim, that would make you thrive in the role, apart from the other skill set that you need to do for any of the non-technical career that you want to go into. Having those kind of other general overview skill set will also be very helpful. So now let's talk about why, I'm sure like a lot of people who are on the call might not necessarily have heard about this 5 careers that Esther and Taslim have mentioned so far: user experience, data policy, human operations, business development, and product management. So I just want to understand, maybe from your own experiences, why you feel like non-technical skill sets are not very prevalent in the geospatial ecosystem, and how can we solve this type of issues? Because like you all mentioned, I think we've been able to establish the fact that we need this kind of people to also, bring a project to life. So it's not just about the people that are developing the product. We also need people who also help to, translate that product to what customers can understand. Because like Taslim says, the customers are not the ones that are going to develop this product. So we need a team to help us, curate the design or the wordings in a way that customers are able to relate to the product that we're building for them. So I just want to understand from your experience, why do you feel like these skill sets are not very prevalent in the geospatial ecosystem? And how do you think we can start to have those conversations so that people who have interest in this kind of career can also get to understand and learn that you can also do this part and also still be a geospatial professional?
Okay, I'll probably start again. I think, well, my unpopular opinion, which has been known to cause some conflicts, is that these roles are not celebrated enough as much as the technical roles are. And we often leave it for those outside of the industry to take up these roles in our industry. So like the UI, UX, data policy, and human operations, as well as the product manager and sales guys that we've all categorized earlier, we leave it for people who are not in geospatial to come and do it in geospatial, if that makes sense. And oftentimes the technical roles within the industry is more celebrated with more pride. So it becomes a harder learning curve for those people. And because the industry or the technology might seem so difficult, they don't stay as long and then they leave. And that trend continues over and over and over. And I would say that for people who have technical geospatial knowledge, but oftentimes find themselves doing non-technical roles, there's some embarrassment that comes with it. If I would speak from my experience, I would say that I know that for a while in my career, I partly hated being identified as a salesperson, because I knew that there was more to what I was doing than just sales, or maybe it's how sales is being painted in the public. But I hated being identified as a sales or the business development person. It took me a while to be able to critically understand what it is that I do, understand what value it is that I bring, and then couch in that confidence. So I think for people not to realize that they don't want to be seen as the person who just sells. It's like there's more pride in, oh, you're the person who does the data, you're the person who does the analysis, you're the person who builds the software, you're the person who writes the code. And because of the whole data big bang that's happening, a lot of people want to be seen on that side of things. So the non-technical roles within the tech industry is not being as celebrated. A lot of people don't talk about it, and it's more overshadowed with the technical conversations. And I think that one of the ways that we can start having these conversations is, one, encourage the people who do these roles to learn the technology so that there's a more balanced skill. Involve them in conversations that have to do with the job, the actual job. So when conversations around solutions are being had, I don't think it'll be wise to seclude the data policy or the operations guys. It will be good to involve them so that they can bring their perspective and they kind of start to feel like being more of a part of the team. Those are my initial thoughts. Thank you. Before I go on rambling.
Yes, thank you so much, Esther, for sharing that. So Taslim has also dropped his own comment. So we're going to also take questions from the audience. So if you have a question for the panelists, please, you can just drop them now. And then I'm going to read the questions out and for them, and then they're going to answer. So let me just read out the answer that Taslim also has written down in the chat. So Taslim's, from his own point of view, it says, because geospatial is still young, and to see the prospects, there's no need to actually understand the technicality behind GIS or the business advantage. Is also saying that generally people might want to reference what other people have done before in an industry to judge its prospects. Taslim, I don't know if you're able to unmute yourself and speak. Yeah, I think that would be very helpful.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay, so I'll be a bit quick. Okay, so now many people right now that I've met and seen that I've just default don't know about most of GIS, they don't know that GIS using it unknowingly. So until you expose them to see that this is actually what it entails, then they will, oh, so this GIS I'm doing right now. And so they didn't even know at first. So most of them just think GIS is kind of a foreign thing that is yet to be established in the country or in Africa. And like, so most times if you take some time to explain further to them that this is how it works and how it applies to your daily life, more people that are non-technical want to approach this particular industry. And not making them believe that it's some kind of a very weird or very technical thing per se. Many people seeing the business part of it make them interested, seeing the design part of it make them interested, not just the technical part of it. So we're seeing, sorry, I'll call you back. Sorry, I'm on a flight.
So thank you, Taslim, for that. So I think what Taslim is basically trying to say is still to buttress on the initial point that he has said about, how, the user experience person is the person that will show what the customers can see, because, they don't understand the code that you're writing. They don't understand basically what GIS is until when you explain it to them. And it will take the work of the user experience person who's going to make the design, or the business development or the salesperson who is going to, sit down with the customers and share with them and say, okay, so this is what this technology is all about. This is what we can do with this technology. This is how this technology is going to help you solve your problem. Yeah, so I think that's what Taslim is trying to say, that, once we start to show the practicality of GIS in everyday life, much people would, dare to approach it in time. And also, and also people would start to speak much about it. So I think this will be like maybe the last question that I will ask for this session, and then I'm going to take questions from the audience. Okay, let me. Okay, so this question is going to go for Esther. So you're the project manager right now. So just can you highlight some of the things? Let's say there's somebody that wants to get into project management on the call. What would you advise them to do? How can they get started to have a career in project management or be a project manager as well?
First thing will be interest in being able to manage people, manage processes, manage tools. I think that's like the fundamental. And if you've confirmed your interest that you like to do those things and you like to see completion to different things and you can multitask different things at the same time, the second step will be going to get certifications. Because I think being with how vast the project management industry is, even outside of geospatial, certifications are a quick and easy, maybe not so easy way to get yourself to stand out. So things like writing a PMP exam, a Prince 2 exam, whatever certification works in whatever country it is you find yourself, because I know that different countries have peculiar preferences to what types of exams. So there's that. And if you think you don't have the interest, but you want to explore what it is, there are a couple of courses, both on Coursera and Udemy, that could give you a broader overview on how it works. I think those are the first basic, easy steps, your interest and then get certified, just so that you can stand out. And then of course, whatever, if it's of course, we're talking about the geospatial industry, it will be understanding what geospatial technology is used for different people. Because as a project manager, you're not only managing people or managing processes or managing tools, you're there to ensure that whatever it is that was promised to the customer gets delivered. So you need to be acutely aware when your technical guys are going off tangents, to be able to pull them back to say, this is what is discussed, or this is what was discussed, and I don't think we're doing that. And to be able to do that, you need to understand the technology. So I would say some understanding of technology is very important as well, to at least help you be a success.
Okay. Thank you for that, Esther. So for this session, we've been able to establish, the importance of the non-technical career part as also, an important role, when you talk about building GIS solutions or trying to help customers solve their problems, that at the end of the day, customers don't really know GIS, they don't know the technology. So we also need people who are going to, be able to, break this technology down to them. So Taslim has mentioned that we have the UI user experience people who breaks this technology down to them using design. We also have the data policy people who, which Taslim says they have like very important role also when you talk about building solutions or helping customers solve their problem. You also have the human operations, you have a team, definitely you need people who would, put this team together and make sure that whatever task or whatever solutions the company is building, they are being managed properly. We also have the business development, the salespeople who go to bring in customers to your businesses, to your organizations, that the one bringing in the money. And also we have the product manager who also manage products for any product or any solutions that the company is building. So that's what we've been able to establish for this session, that we should start also encouraging people to also, go into this career, because at the end of the day, we need both the technical part and not technical part to eventually build solutions for GIS solutions for organizations and also for customers. So we need to start encouraging people to talk more about this. So if you work in a role that is a non-technical role, I hope that you start, you start putting that out, so that a lot of people who might have interest or who might not know that they're actually existing can also understand that, okay, there's this career pattern I can follow and I can still be a GIS professional even though I work in this part. So I'm going to we have about 7 more minutes. So I'm going to take questions from the audience. Do we have anybody who wants to ask any question right now? Please, if you have any question, you can drop them in the chat. I'm just going to going to just check if you have any questions for the panelists. Do we have any question, Justice? From the lobby? Are there any questions at the lobby?
No questions. No questions from the lobby. No questions from the chat. None.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, Esther, for joining the session. I hope that everyone on the call now, they've been able to learn different ways that they can also, serve the geospatial community or still work in the geospatial ecosystem, even without the technical, even not working in the technical role. At the end of the day, you still need to have an understanding of the technicality, but you don't necessarily have to do technical things to still be in the geospatial industry. So thank you so much, Esther, for joining the call. For the next session, we are going to have the workshop. So we have to okay, maybe before we go, Esther, do you have any last word before we actually end the session? I think that I should do that. So do you have any last words you want to say?
Not particularly, maybe just to have an open mind. And have an open mind, pursue your interests, and don't limit it to just the technical aspects of geospatial technology. There's more beyond being the technical person.
Yeah, okay. So thank you so much, Esther, for...
Thank you too for having me. And congratulations again to the organizers for the GIS Festival. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Okay. So the next session is going to be the workshop. So the workshop is going to be 2. So we have 2 workshop sessions. So the 2 workshop sessions will happen simultaneously. So you can join any one that you want to join. There's going to be a session about it's going to be a session for GeoServer, and there's going to be a session for using open source tool to build a geocoding for geocoding. So any of the sessions that you would like to join. So if you are just joining us, we currently have something going on. So you can tweet about the event on Twitter and use the hashtag GISFest 2022. There is an interesting gift for the participants with the highest like on Twitter. We have an interesting gift for you. So make sure you go on Twitter, tweet at GIS Fest, tweet about the event, tweet about what you've been learning so far from the event, tweet about the sessions that has been more interesting to you, what you've been able to take out of that session. Then don't forget to use the hashtag GIS Fest 2022. So the individual with the highest like is going to go away with a mouth-watering gift. So the next session is going to start soon. So we can just, for now, we can just go to the lobby and have conversations while we wait for the workshop to start. So any workshop that you have interest in, like I mentioned, there's one workshop for the geocoding and one workshop for GeoServer. So any of the ones you have interest in will be you can join any of that. So see you guys in the next session. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining the GIS Fest 2022. Can anyone hear me? You can hear me, please. So you can just join the workshop. The workshop is going to start at 12, so you can join now, set up your computer, because it's going to be a walkthrough. So you're going to follow through with what the speaker or the tutorial person is going to show you. So you can just join any of the workshops that you would like to join, set up your computer, and then by 12, we're going to start, or the session speaker is going to start. So yeah. Oh, me, I'm tired. Oh, I'm motivated. Justice, can you start the second workshop, please?